It's not that you can't be successful without all those joy moments, but it'll come a lot easier with all of those moments of joy throughout every task of the day.
Expanding possibilities, the Mindset Zone.
I'm your host, Ana Melikian. I'm here to support you, increase your impact while preventing burnout. The Mindset Zone is a place to pause, increase your self-awareness, and embrace the experimentation mindset. Find more resources, including information about the Mindset Zone book and audiobook at mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. Today, our special guest is Kevin Surace. Kevin is a Silicon Valley innovator, serial entrepreneur, CEO, and futurist. He has 94 worldwide patents and is well-known speaker on generative AI applications and impact. Welcome to the Mindset Zone, Kevin.
Hi, Anna. Thanks for having me.
You speak a lot about this concept of joy, success, cycle. Can you explain this concept and how it's different from the traditional view of success?
First of all, one would have to define success, and success is different for everyone. It could be with family, it could be with friends, it could be with job, it could be money. Success is different in everybody's mind. But once you define success, people kept asking me a couple of things that took a while to put together. One is, why are you always so bubbly and energetic and joyful, etc.? Are you just naturally born with high dopamine? That was one question. And the other question is, how is it that you can open your mind enough to see so many problems across so many industries that you're willing to dive in and solve those problems with all those patents, for example? And I began really looking at how I live my life, how I act during the day, how I act on every task that comes my way, for example. And I realized that, at least for me, and then I found many others, that joy and success are exactly tied together. And I don't mean joy like happiness is, oh, I'm happy in my life. It's happiness is just a wonderful thing. You could sing about it. That's not what joy is. I look at moments of joy. So a moment of joy is like, I'm going to do a podcast with you. And there's many ways one could look at being a podcast guest. They could go, oh, I got to be a podcast guest. I've got to get ready. I've got to rehearse or whatever. Or they could say, oh, that's an hour I wish I could spend something else with. Or, oh, there's all the negative. And that's what humans tend to do, by the way. And then there's the flip side of that, which is I get to learn more from someone like yourself, who's going to have really intelligent questions, going to make me think about my answers in ways that others haven't. It's not that I haven't been talking about this subject for years. It's that it brings something new to me every day. So I can look at every task and find the joy in that moment. And this is critical because we have this concept in the book that I'm working on, and the book is not out yet. Maybe by the end of this year, I hope, end of 2025. The concept here is that we're going to add up sort of a positive quotient. We want to add up to 10 all the time. And maybe we start the day at 5. And every time we have a negative thought, or we look at a task as a negative, or we complain about something, we take away points from our positive quotient, because that now we're getting more negative, right? Those are joy killers. But every time we find the joy in that moment, no matter what it is, what do? We add points to the positive quotient. We start heading to 10. And if you can be at a 10, your mind is so open to what comes before you all day, at every moment, every day. You will learn, you will find the problems, you will solve the problems better, you will interact with people better. Everything goes better. It's not that you can't be successful without all those joy moments, but it'll come a lot easier with all of those moments of joy throughout every task of the day.
I love this. And there is a 10 to unpack. So let's go here a moment, pressing the pause button, because I love this concept of the scale. So you are saying that wake up in the morning, some days with more energy, feeling better, the day is not feeling so well. But we have, let's give it the average of 5. Wake up with 5.
Right in the middle.
Yes. And then it becomes a choice. how we elaborate
Yes.
or how we reframe something. And probably if we just react to the day, we can start to add negative points and
That's right. We
subtracting.
subtract. That's right. That's right. And that's what humans naturally do, right? We go, oh, my knees hurt. Oh, it's raining. Oh, I'm out of milk. It's like all you're doing is going to zero. And then you got to dig yourself out of that hole. How are you ever going to have an open enough mind to be as successful as you could possibly be if you're wallowing in all of these complaints? And it's very easy to wallow there. Look, this is natural. Let's be clear. People are going to listen to this and go, oh, you don't know me, or you don't know. No, I do know you. This is the natural human state. And how I got here is people ask me why I am not in that state. And I had to do a lot of self reflection to realize when I make my list at night, it's not that there isn't something on the list that says fire Jim. I'm making it up. I didn't have to fire Jim today, and you go, okay, there's many ways to look at this task. Most people would look at that as, oh, I gotta fire Jim. But the other way to look at it is probably going to be better for him. It's going to be better for me. It's going to be better for everyone. I'll still help him along. There's all these positive aspects of anything you do, even if the only thing is to complete a task. Maybe few people would get great joy out of mopping the floor. On the other hand, getting that task out of the way is a wonderful thing. You took that 10 minutes, you checked the box, great. And so there is joy even in the moment to just finish the task. So you need to start looking at every moment as you control it, right? It's your mind. No one else controls this for you. Can I look at every moment as a positive? I get up in the morning. The first thing that I realize is I'm alive. This is a
Yes.
joyful thing because the alternative to waking up is death, right? I don't know if death is joyful, but I don't want to find out tomorrow morning, right? Or this morning. So to me, just the art of waking up is a wonderful thing. I have this entire day ahead of me. And some people are going to say, oh, I got the entire day ahead of me. And I go, I've got the entire day ahead of me to make of it what I want. Everyone can do their own thing, right? And I'm not saying it's easy to live like me, but if you follow ultimately the book, and you follow these examples and you follow our prescription on how to do this, it's a life changer. You just live a different form of life.
Yeah, and we have to retrain ourselves. I love the thing about starting the morning. I have like my little mantra. I say, good morning, love. We are blessed. That is my little, my
Yeah.
feet hit the floor and good morning, love. And I'm speaking to myself. We are blessed because it's that we are here.
But that's great that you do that because it's a grounding, right, of a way to start the day. And if you're starting at a 5, you don't want to be at a 0 5 minutes into the day. I want to be at 10 and I want to live at 10 the entire day.
Yes, and that there is that retraining, that because I always like to say from the studies in positive psychology, we know that there are very tough life circumstances and things that happen.
Absolutely.
And we don't have control in some of them because there is the definition of a life circumstances are things that happen to us, but we have a choice in how we respond to those life circumstances. There is our
Absolutely.
big power, and we can choose at least learn from them. What can we, for me, that is, I'm a lifelong learner. The way of finding joy for me is, okay, what can I learn? There is anything here that can make me exercise the power that I have of learning something and be a better person.
We talk about the power of curiosity. And again, the most successful people are highly curious. They are highly curious about what makes that work or what can I find here or how can I find joy in this moment. And, when we talk about the joy success cycle, we're talking about your everyday life, your everyday normal business and home life. We are not talking about the tragedy that happens, right? If your house burned down, okay? I don't want you to find joy in that. You need to go through that cycle because you're not trying to have a successful day today. You're just trying to get through the day.
Yeah.
And you need to get through the cycle of loss and pain and discomfort and anger and all of those things, right? So we're really talking about 99% of your time on earth. And 99% of your time is we get up and we have to execute the day, whatever that is. Could be at home, could be at work, could be a combination. And we want to make that day successful. We want to make that week successful. We want to make that month successful. We want to make the year as successful as possible. And this is a pathway to really drive that home. And the learning here for me was certainly success and joy are inexplicably tied together. They are directly tied together, right? You really don't get one without the other, but when you have one, you get more of the other. More joy equals more success, equals more joy because of the success, equals actually more success, equals more joy, equals more success. And you get in this really positive feedback loop. And once you're there, you feel it, you know it.
From a psychological perspective, it makes all the sense because when we cultivate positivity and joy, we absolutely see wider than if we are under fear and stress.
No question. It opens your mind in different ways, right? And there's a friend of mine is Goldie Hawn, and Goldie was one of the people who pointed this out to me. That she's the actress, and Goldie runs a wonderful organization called the Hawn Foundation, and they have a process for school children called Mind Up. And Mind Up is a practice where at several times during the day, you stop and practice mindfulness. Just stop what you're doing. There's no lessons. You have 5 minutes to just practice mindfulness. And she would talk about that the brain is the most important and largest organ of the body. And we have to treat it. We can't just keep plowing and expect great joy on the other end. You actually have to stop and you really calm down, right? And take it down so that you can be open 1 minute later to the things that come. And when they've touched 6 or 8 million students as of this year, it's crazy. And the test scores are higher, the fights are lower, the anger is lower, the anxiety is lower, simply by a few times a day of practicing mindfulness, right? And so this is very related to that because it allows those students to get back into a mood and a mode of finding joy in this lesson and finding curiosity in the lesson rather than just, I just can't take anymore. And these are child's minds. And we obviously want to drill them to death, but it turns out that doesn't work very well. And we don't get the maximum bang for the buck there. That's just an example of an unrelated program, but she's also got me started about thinking why some adults seem to have much higher dopamine than others. And in truth, if we measured my dopamine, if we could do that and measured everyone else's, we may find very little difference. We call them high dopamine individuals because they've chosen to live life in a certain way.
And I love that you bring meditation here because I just had another conversation about meditation recently in the podcast. And it's a lot of that because mainly mindfulness is a lot about training our mind to just pay attention at our will. And that allow us to choose. Again, it's exercising that mental muscle of choice that we can do through mindfulness that then allow us to be more mentally fit for when is the circumstance that happens, small or medium size, then we have mentally fitness to be able to handle it in a more resilient way and choose joy from it.
Right. That's right. And I think the most important thing here for people is to realize that they are in full control of their mind. People say, I can't control how I think. I certainly can't control how you think. Anna can't control how you think. So I'm thinking of anyone who can control how you think about this particular topic or subject or whatever. It's you who control it. And so you can choose to do what you want with today's news, with your tasks that you have at hand, with some things that are coming up, with something going on with the family. You can choose to approach it any way you want. And in fact, you're the only one who really gets to choose that.
And it's almost we are exercising our joy muscles. We are practicing and we are strengthening that capacity. And another thing that I love of the example that you were saying with the kids that we drill them and they have nowadays so much schedule and so much pressure from a young age and then go to the workforce. We put so much pressure in ourselves that we forget that we have to recover. We have to allow ourselves these moments of recover to really be in our optimal performance. And that takes me to another area of your expertise. You are well known and you are speaking all over the place about generative AI. You've been in the field for a long time. So how is your understanding of joy as success, so joy being the success driver,
Mhm.
evolved through your work with AI and all the innovation work that you have done?
I do 40 or 50 keynotes around the world on choice success cycle and AI, and sometimes both together, believe it or not. But when it's about AI, you really get to meet so many people that one have little understanding. Two says Gen AI, mostly they say, "Oh, I played with it," which I always say, "Why don't you start to work with it? Then you can
Uh-huh.
get some real work done because playing does nothing. Working is a whole different thing." But the thing about AI is you hear fear, you have doubt, you have uncertainty, so you have all those FUD factors, right? And I never did. It's just technology. When the Excel spreadsheet showed up, if you were in finance, you thought it was the end of your career because it did everything in a split second that could take you weeks to do.
Yeah.
Thought it was the end. That's the end. I'm over. And it wasn't over. In fact, what it did is get everyone away from doing pencils with ledger books and got them instead into being strategic about finance because they didn't have to worry about the pennies. Those would add and subtract and multiply and divide just fine. Now I had to worry about the strategery or the strategic nature of how do we spend this money? Where do we place it? Do I have the right data coming in? Can I forecast correctly, right? Where we didn't have time to do that before. So always humans are scared of technology. From the wheel to the car, we've been scared of technology. And generative AI is no different. We've had AI for a very long time, since the 50s. Been working in AI and a variety ML and AI. But Gen AI is the first time that most people can interface with AI directly without having a Python programmer next to them. They can actually talk to the darn thing and it talks back. And it's the best example so far. The deep learning works. The theories work. The math works. It's amazing. What is there to be scared of? And people will say, well, it's going to take over the earth and it's going to eliminate all the jobs and it's going to. Yeah, I heard this with Excel and I heard it with PCs on the desktop. I heard it even with smartphones. I've heard it with the internet. It's going to make us all stupid. I've heard all these things. And none of those have come true. There is no question that every cycle of technology removes some tasks. And if your job was only that task, probably it's time to look for something else and upgrade. That's just how it works, right? It's how it always works. But I want people to think of it this way. If you wanted to double the size of your company 30 years ago or double the revenue of your company, you would double the number of employees. That's just what you did. You said, we could double our revenue. We double the number of employees. That's what we did. There are no more employees to hire. In fact, there's a very big demographic cliff that's hitting us right now that the number of 18-year-olds graduating, coming out and graduating high school, et cetera, is going down every year. It's going to fall by 30 to 35% over the next 20 years or so. And so there will be far less people to hire and many more people leaving the workforce, retiring. So you're losing employees faster than you can hire them. This is a macro problem. Can't change it.
Yes.
So in fact, we have to make our existing employees and the number of them, we're going to end up with 20% less employees and we still want to double the revenue of the company. We need to make everyone 50, 60, 70% more productive than they are today. That's what we need without burying them in work. So we need to now take everyone's brain and multiply it by 3x at least. But 100x would be great. And I try to 100x my brain all the time with these tools. But when you get to know these technologies, you can really multiply your brain power in a tremendous way. And this brings me great joy. It's joyful to participate in the technology. It's a joy to use the technology. It's a joy to keep up with the technology. Nothing but joy here, folks.
I love how you choose and how you is a problem and we have this technology that can help us to arrive to the solution. And I also love that you said something about spreadsheet that I think applies here because, okay, can do a lot of the calculation, all of that, and now leave us time to be strategical. And
That's
AI
right.
can do a lot, help us to be more productive and give us time to be strategical. Because I
And we
think
have to be. We have to be.
exactly.
And we have no choice. People don't listen, but we have no choice but to be more productive, to just keep the same revenue stream going because the population of new people coming to the workforce is going down, not up, and more people are retiring. And when you look at that, there'll be 30% less people in the workforce perhaps 20 years from now than there are today. How do I grow a company? with 30% less people. How you do it is you use technologies like this to make the people that you have far more productive than a generation before. And look, I am far more productive at work than my father was. And my father was a very hard worker. That's not take anything away from the work he did. He just didn't have the tools we had. If I had to write 52 blog posts today for marketing, I could do that. Now I need GPT 4.0. I need to come up with an overall topic. Then I have to ask it to come up with 52 titles, 52 subjects. Then I have to ask it to generate some information about those subjects based on information maybe on our website, right? And some other information I can point it to. And now I have my 52 blog posts, which over the next several hours I will edit. And by the end of the day, I can set them up to post one a week. I've completed a task that would have taken someone, let's say 25 years ago, I don't know, half the year or something like that, right? There's no comparison. There's no comparison.
And the challenge is, how can we build this new future of work that brings joy to everybody involved? I really believe in success equals joy and joy success. And the future of work and how we can increase the productivity of the workforce and make sure that everybody's enjoying the process.
Absolutely. You're going to find joy in the process when you don't look at it as scary or a task you don't want to do. That's why I say stop approaching, whether it's ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini, stop approaching it as, well, I played with it and you lose. No, I went to it and said, I'm going to get real work done today. And I had to work on my prompts and I had to work on how to do it. And it took me 10 times. But the next time I do it, I'm going to be 10 times better at it because I learned a lot. And the next time I do it, I'll be another few percent better. And by the time you've used these tools for 2 years, you'll be the expert. I hope you're not just the office expert. I hope everybody's the expert. But it'll bring you great joy because you go, I will tell you, everything I work on with any of the LLMs, when I'm done, 5, 10, 20 minutes later, whatever it is, I go, wow, I saved myself half a day. Sometimes you get an email, you go, how am I going to respond to this? Okay, boom. Let me ask Copilot. Let me ask Gemini. Let me ask ChatGPT. It comes, and I say, here's my goals, and here's my objectives, and here's the email I got, and boom. And I go, okay. I like to look at it this way. I'm not an English major. The LLM is, right? ChatGPT is an English major. I'm not an English major. This is better than I could have written. It is in my tone. It is in my voice. But boy, I would have taken half the day to write from a blank sheet. And here it is, and it's mine, and I hit go. And I'm done in 3 minutes instead of, I don't know, 3 hours, right?
And we get time that we can use for mindfulness and to cultivate joy. I always like to say that, okay, if we are releasing that time, yes, we can do work that we didn't have time to do, absolutely. And we also can preserve time for professional growth that is so important to develop the joy muscles, to be more strategical and so forth. So can you tell, so we spoke about mindfulness as one of the ways of exercising and our mind and be more open to this, to joy. What other little things in your personal life you do and you advise people to do that can help us to exercise our joy muscles?
The number one exercise is to get rid of the joy killers. And the way I do that, I'm going to give your listeners an assignment for tomorrow and the next day. So tomorrow, I want all of your listeners to get up and count every negative thought or complaint they have. So internal or external complaint. I want you to count them, every single one. Oh, my knees hurt. There's one. Oh, this, 2. Oh, these tasks, 3. Oh, I don't want to meet that person. 4. Oh, I don't want to take this call. I hate that person. 5. Just go down the line. By the end of the day, on average, the average American anyway, will have about 100 or more, 110, 120, 80, numbers like that, right? They're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised. You go, I counted 108 complaints I had all day because of what humans naturally gravitate towards, right? Naturally want to share and naturally. Okay, here's Kevin's goal, and I try to live by it. I don't always make it, but I try to live by it. You get one complaint a day. Choose wisely. Now, so on the next day, on the following day after they counted their 108, they get up, they forget about this exercise and they get up and they go, oh wow, this elbow hurts from yesterday. You've already used your complaint of the day. Now, the whole idea of this exercise is to force yourself to start thinking that anything that comes at me and any task I have, I need to find a moment of joy in it. I need to find the joy in doing that, or I need to find the joy in responding. And what happens is once you realize that you're out of negative points, because you only get one negative a day, it forces you to say, I can't go down the left road. I got to take this other road, right? I got to take the other road to joy.
And it's very important because we have to be intentional on this. It's an intention that we are going to focus on the positive, because the tricky thing is how we are wired through our evolution, that our brain is much more something negative pulls our attention, because if there was a tiger coming, that has to pull our attention for us.
That is right. It is wired this way. But there's very rarely tigers and lions and bears chasing us. If there are, run, you should have all kinds of fear. That is not a moment of joy. The bear is chasing you. But rarely is the bear chasing you. Rarely. So we don't need to exercise that muscle the way we were programmed to 300,000 years ago or 100,000 years ago, right?
We have to put our intention in, be aware of, because the thing about the positive emotions, they are more subtle. I always like to use the image. Negative emotions is a little bit like if we are eating and we bite a chili pepper, spicy one, we know that we bite it. There is no doubt about it. We can have a wonderful meal with friends. We are having a great time, but not always we are aware that we are having a so great time. So we have to bring a moment of gratitude there to, wow, this was really time well spent. So it's a different flavor, a more subtle, but we have to put our attention and intention in it in order to, this is the joy, these are the moments that I want more of.
Remember the positive quotient score, right? From 0 to 10. You quickly start to learn how to keep yourself at a 10. And then you go, oh, I went to a 9 because I don't like these glasses. Okay. Didn't have to do that. You go, oh, I'm going to use these other glasses and that will bring me more joy because I can see better through them. It's all how you're looking at every little task, every little moment of the day, joy moments, right? You start to just wire yourself a little bit differently and you will enjoy life better. Enjoy, right? You will enjoy life better. You will be more successful because this is tied to success because your mind is open all the time to new ideas, new experiences, problems to solve, employees coming to you or partners coming to you or coworkers coming to you. It changes everything. I recently spoke to a company on the Joy Success Cycle that had reorganized all their groups. And HR came to me and said, you really need to talk to us about the Joy Success Cycle because there is no joy in these 1,000 people that all got reorged into different groups, right? So they're just all moping around and, oh, this is terrible. And all my friends are gone. And I don't know what I'm going to do. And I don't like these people. And I don't like. And so I approached it. I took them through the whole joy success thing and how you can do these exercises. But then I said, let's take a look at this very specific situation. It's possible in your company. Let's just pretend you might have gotten reorganized into a brand new group. And I know you loved your other group. You were with them for 8 years. And now you're in a new group and you go, this sucks. That's certainly one way to look at it. But let me give you some other ways to look at it. Brand new people to get to know. People that have all different kind of knowledge base than the other people have. By the way, you already got all the knowledge from them you were ever going to get. It was 8 years. So now there's so much more to learn here. There's new people to have dinner with, new people to have a beer with, or a wine with, or a tea with, right? New people to go into accounts with, whatever it is. This is all new and exciting. And I know humans naturally don't like change. I love change because isn't it great to learn so much? And I'm curious about what I'm going to learn and curious about what we're going to do together. I already know what I was going to do with those 25 people. I've done it for 8 years. This is a whole new experience. And so embrace and get excited about the new experience. And they called me back 2 weeks later and said, like half our people took your word and took the exercise and ran with it and started actually living this and said, if they get up in the morning and they go, oh, I got this stupid new group I'm with, they did get that one negative for the day, but it's done. It's out of the way. You don't get another one all day. So you can't keep saying it over and over again. I'm with this new group. I'm with this new group. I'm with this new group. It doesn't matter. You got one negative for the day. Move on. You're done with it. We've noted it. We've checked that box. Move on.
Love it. So, where can people go to learn more about you and this work?
Yeah, the easiest is kevinsurace.com. It's just first name, last name.com. And there's a lot of information there, and there's going to be more. We're putting more AI stuff up there and quite a bit on the Joy Success Cycle. And then my LinkedIn is there too. So they can find me there.
And I will make sure that all those links goes in the show notes for this episode. So thank you so much for your time and sharing your joy today with us.
Yes, thank you, Anna. Thanks for having me.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
If you can think of a person who will find this episode helpful, please share it. Spreading the word about the Mindset Zone podcast is very powerful. For extra resources, including information about the book and audiobook, Mindset Zone, Actualize Your Human Potential, go to mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. As always, I'm so grateful that you are here. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.